Hello, friends from Five Reasons and Messi and Co. Welcome back to another episode with Ashley, Gian, and myself, Alejandro Villegas. We are excited because season is getting closer and closer, and Inter Miami is going to be playing sometime soon in their friendlies. We have new players, we have new signings, we have rumors, we have a lot of stuff to talk about, and here we're going to go with Ashley and Gian once again. The three of us finally made it together, and we're gonna have fun in this episode of Messi and Co. Ashley, Gian, how are you guys?
Doing great.
Good.
Excited. Yep.
I
Yeah, we're
said last
fine.
week we're going to get some familiar faces back, so we're excited. That means the season's ramping up.
Yeah, we're
Yes,
finally back together.
we're finally back together. The squad's getting back together, and we're gonna be having more and more episodes of Messi and Co. coming up. To open this episode today, Ashley and Gian and Messi and Co. friends, we want to talk about Messi's impact, and we're gonna give the floor to Ashley because she has a lot of interesting stuff to go over. Go ahead, Ashley.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, this is no surprise to everyone. We know Messi's impact on MLS and just soccer globally, but already for the 2024 season, last
Hmm.
week, we have learned some new crazy things that are happening that is, already showing his crazy impact. And the first two, which are kind of related, is that the game against LA Galaxy, which is the LA Galaxy's home opener in Los Angeles against Inter Miami, sold out in under 6 minutes. Not a surprise, similar to the LAFC game last year, which was definitely a spectacle. We can expect something similar to that. And then another big one, which was very interesting, was at the Kansas City game, the Inter Miami versus Kansas City, that was going to be at their normal stadium, which I believe has a capacity of maybe like 18,000, something like that, was moved to Arrowhead Stadium, made famous this year by Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce and all of those people, but holds 80,000 plus people in it. And so they are expecting a huge crowd in Missouri. Like, that's kind of crazy to think if you really break it down, that in Kansas City, Missouri, in the Midwest, the middle of this country, they are expecting to sell out 80,000 for an MLS game because of Messi. So just with those two things to start, what do you guys like? I'm sure it's no surprise, but kind of crazy, right? These games we're used to it here in Miami, but it's crazy everywhere.
So, Gian, there's going to be the same amount of people to watch the Dolphins against the Chiefs that to watch Inter Miami against Kansas City. What do you think in
Oh, that just
MLS?
made me sad.
Yeah,
That
I
made
mean,
me sad. Why'd you say
who would have
that?
expected that? I mean, they're definitely going to have probably better weather. That's for sure. So I think I would also go to the Inter Miami game instead of the Kansas City one. Apparently, it's going to be negative 8 degrees or something. So,
Woo.
but yeah, that's what Messi does. I mean, Messi for a country like the United States that has so many different sports, and the NFL, the NBA, and then MLS. MLS is obviously not one of the top sports here in the US, but despite that, it's, I mean, when you go to the stadiums, you would think it's one of the top sports, and people are going there because it's Messi, because Messi is the show. It's like buying a ticket to watch, a magician's show at Las Vegas, or to go see, I don't know, Taylor Swift. Actually, like, he is
Funny
the guy.
enough, this is what makes it so full circle, is that I actually went to see Taylor Swift in Kansas City this
Yeah.
past summer at Arrowhead, and it was awesome. Like,
So yeah,
Arrowhead is a really cool environment, a really cool sports atmosphere.
yeah. So I mean, that's the type of excitement that Messi brings. That Taylor Swift excitement. I never thought I'd make that analysis, but yeah. I mean, he
They're
is the show
basically
in
the
town.
same.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, he's gonna fill stadiums. Teams are gonna move their stadiums to get more people in, just because the demand is so high. These tickets are so high. We saw that they get sold out in minutes, and I'm sure that other teams are probably going to follow suit, and they're going to continue to find more ways to not only capitalize financially, but also capitalize on the fanfare, and just making it an all exciting thing. And I'm sure that there are going to be teams that other games, they're not going to go in as all in as they are for these Inter Miami games. They're going to pull out all the strings and make sure that this is the night to be there. So that's exciting and really cool to see that Messi is able to do that, and Inter Miami is becoming a global brand and a big brand here in the United States and
It's
abroad.
interesting. It's interesting because there's these stadiums that I went to Texas not like a couple of months ago, and I went to the AT&T Stadium, and I went to NRG Stadium. Two of them, of course, NFL stadiums, but they do have their MLS teams that play in smaller stadiums, the Dynamo and FC Dallas. And I'm wondering if these two teams are going to do something similar, right, to try to get the most amount of fans to watch Messi and to make the most out of this experience when Messi and Inter Miami go there. And I know it has to do a lot with like the scheduling and all of the events and the concerts that go take place in all of these big venues, but it's gonna be interesting how many teams do the same thing that LA Galaxy just did in Los Angeles. All right, we'll see what happens. That's Messi's impact, and that's the first topic that we wanted to go over today. But let's talk a little bit about soccer because Inter Miami is signing players besides Luis Suarez. You guys talked about it already. We're going to have Ashley and Gian there also for the press conference. Luis Suarez talking to the media on Saturday, but they did sign Julian Gressel. Let's talk about this signing, Ashley and Gian. What do you think about it?
Yeah,
I think
so
it's a
me
great
and
signing.
yeah, we
Ashley,
talked
you
about it a
go
little bit
first.
on our. We talked about it last week, and we were saying that with getting rid of Kamal Miller and with
Mm-hmm.
how are they going to use their money? Do they need to use it for Suarez? Like, was that part of the plan? We weren't sure, but we knew that Gressel was on the table and hoping to sign. And what we're getting is a two-time MLS Cup champion who's obviously knows how to play like a champion, play on good teams, and a versatile position where you could do the midfield, but also, which can be very beneficial and very interesting, he can play right back. And so it will be very, very interesting to see where he fits in the beginning and throughout the season and, his versatility, how it's going to be used. But I think it's a great signing to start with, and I'm excited to see what they build from it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It just adds more versatility to for a team that's going to need that as they move forward with probably one of the heaviest MLS seasons we've seen in a long time for an MLS team. They're going to be competing in, where maybe some teams will be in having 30 something games. You can see easily Inter Miami have between 50 and 60 games this season. So it's good to have versatility on there. As Ashley mentioned, someone that can play the midfield, that can play the defense, can play that right back position. Right now, we don't know if somebody like Yedlin is going to continue to be on the team, or if he is he going to lose his starting position to somebody like Gressel? So as we begin to figure these things out, at least that there are players that you can plug in these holes if necessary. But then also you're going to see different lineups. I think you're going to see a lot of different lineups, and maybe different lineups depending on what the tournament is. Like we see sometimes in Europe, like we've seen, those of us who are fans of Barca have seen, sometimes there's a completely different team, or not maybe a completely different team, but maybe 80 or 70% of the team is different for a Copa del Rey than a team that plays in the league match. So I think that we'll see some of that, and that's probably what management is trying to build here: 1, 2, maybe even 3 different teams, so that we can make sure that we have I think enough bodies to make sure that we are healthy throughout the season. Remember, we don't want to put a lot of impact on these players, on their bodies and all that sort of thing. So yeah, Gressel, great addition, and a great mix. He's still young. He's still young, but he also brings a wealth of experience, which is really great for us and the young guys that we have on our team.
Yeah, he just turned 30 years old, so
Yeah.
he's still has a couple of years in his career to give us here in Miami. So, and that remind me what happened in the Leagues Cup, right? After all of those matches, like every 3 days, how the team actually felt like you could see like players were dragging through
Yeah.
the rest of the season, and how it was hard for Inter Miami to try to make that comeback that looked almost impossible. But if they were healthy, maybe they would have had a better chance to actually make the playoffs last year. It didn't happen this year. New season, you have more time to like rotate and, like Jan said, like make the most out of the entire squad, and so you don't burn everybody out like we saw in the Leagues Cup. And it was important. It was the first tournament. It was the first title, but the team, you could see how they felt it, how it was hard on their legs, and how like they were struggling, and the team just looked tired in many games, and the other teams just looked like they were so much faster, and they were, it felt like they were more in shape, but I just think that they were just tired, to be honest, and especially some of these players that didn't even have a preseason to start with. So, and they just got to the team and they started playing, and it was a hard moment, and we'll see how they manage it and how Tata Martino does this year to try to like spread around the minutes and all the options that he's gonna have in the attack, in the middle, and then in defense. Let's talk about some rumors, guys, because there's a couple of names flying around there. I know Gian, Ashley, they've been talking about it in our WhatsApp group. They love throwing names around, and I laugh every time they bring
I was
another
right about
player back
Resto.
to the Mitch. There's always another Barca or ex-Barca player getting back into that mix. At some point, it was Iniesta. Now it's Coutinho, the first name in these two rumors that we're going to be talking about. Gian, Ashley, Coutinho has not been in his best uh, moment in his career right now. He's been just going around. He's somewhere else that he should have been at this point in his career, but he's one of those rumors. What do you think? Let's start with Ashley in this one.
Well, yeah, I mean, Gian is definitely more of a Barca expert than I am, but I remember they paid a lot of money for him many
Oh,
years ago, and it did not work out
too much
well.
money. No.
Um, yeah, look, it's one of those players that I think can have a lot of upside depending on the value, but could also be kind of a waste. It's really
Yep.
he has a lot of quality, and I think again he's in Saudi Arabia, right? So I mean, it would be, I don't know if it would be a hefty price, or maybe, look, you never know with the deals. I mean, obviously Messi just posted about Riyadh yesterday or the day before. There's a lot of business to business things happening. We're seeing it with the Premier League in Saudi. Like, they're probably going to let some players back to play in the Premier League again. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what kind of price tag, or I can imagine it would be a DP, but what kind of price tag or movement would be associated with it. If it's a low price tag, I could see it being, he adds flair, he adds fun. He's part of that legacy that I'm sure there's people in America who have his jersey, played for Aston Villa. It could be interesting. Is it something that I'm going to, die for, or be like, wow, this may, Julian Gressel, I can immediately say, wow, this is a great signing. This is the impact I can see him making, and XYZ. Coutinho, I can't say that right now, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, he's actually playing for the Al Duhail in Qatar. So he's not in Saudi
Qatar,
Arabia,
not
but
Saudi Arabia.
in
Sorry,
Qatar.
Qatar.
Yes, but he's all the way over there. Gian, he went from being the guy who was gonna somehow maybe substitute Neymar, or trying to make Barca fans forget about Neymar along with Dembele. They spent too much money in those two players, and it didn't work for them. And now Coutinho is in this point of his career where his Premier League team is just loaning him everywhere because they just don't find a spot for him. Maybe MLS is that spot. A Brazilian guy here in Miami, in Florida. Maybe it's the best way for him to close his career. I don't know. I don't know if that's the option.
Yeah, I think that was probably one of the biggest disappointments I had for as a Barca fan when he came. I mean, he worked really well for me in FIFA when I played with him on PlayStation, but in the real world, he didn't really work out so well. I mean, man, when I heard that he was gonna come to Barca, I remember like doing the lineups and seeing how I was like, man, this lineup is nasty. We're gonna have but unfortunately, I think that sometimes happens. No matter how good you are in your current team, sometimes when you come to big teams like Barca or Real Madrid, sometimes it just doesn't work out. Same thing happened with Griezmann, and then Griezmann went back and he played. He's playing amazing right now for Atletico. Coutinho didn't work out for whatever reason. Then he went, I believe, to Bayern Munich, and in Bayern Munich he did pretty well, I think. Then he got loaned. He went to Aston Villa, not so well, and now he's in Qatar, but he's still young. I feel like I think he's 31, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So he's still there where you could consider kind of like yeah, you would think not. He's played for a long time, but he's still fairly young. He's still what you could consider to be in his prime. I think the quality is still there. So would I love to have him in Inter Miami? Of course, I would love to have him. I just don't know I what the price tag would entail, and that's what I think is most important, especially when you've got players that play his position already, like
Yeah.
that play that attacking. We have a lot of
21.
attacking midfielders. That's but no, yeah, we got a lot of attacking midfielders. We've got especially now that we have Suarez up front. You've got Campana, and then if you've got Messi in the midfield that's attacking. You've got Farias in the midfield that's attacking. You've got Diego Gomez that is more of an attacking midfielder. Like I don't know
Robert
where there would
Taylor.
be Robert. Yeah, thank you, Robert Taylor. Like where is there room for Philip Coutinho, especially at the price tag that he's probably going to that would probably be needed to bring him in. I don't know. It would have to be one of those friends and family of Messi discounts. I think. It's
Well,
like,
this,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, for
yeah,
it to make sense. But
yeah,
if you just solely ask me, do you want Coutinho and Inter Miami? I'm telling you, yeah. But there are
yeah.
obviously a lot more things involved with that.
This is Messi and Co. But I don't know if they were so close, right? The years that they were in Barca, they seem like to have an okay relationship, but he was
Yeah,
definitely not part of the Busquets, Suarez, and Alba group. That's for sure. so,
yeah, yeah. So the
so
I mean,
discounts not
he's
coming is what you're
also
saying.
yes, not
he
coming.
also I feel like is a player that has never quite lived up to his hype, and
Yeah.
so I don't. I 31 is young. I don't know if he's ready. Maybe he doesn't seem ready to make the big move. That really surprises me because how old is Neymar? Like 32 or 33? Like not that much older. But if you were to,
Yep.
if you were to ask me, I've been like, oh, Neymar. I would have thought that they were this.
Yeah.
That he was way younger. So it's just interesting. Like it's time is interesting based on how to play. But
Yeah, they're
we'll
both
see.
they're both 31 because they came up together in the Brazilian. I
Neymar's
remember
only
seeing them play
31.
together. Yeah, 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 yeah.
See, that's like a perfect comparison of like, wow, Neymar seems so much older because he's had such a storied career. Like he's done so much. Coutinho feels so much younger because he hasn't done as much. Like that's really at one thing from two different sides of the coin.
Exactly. All right. Talking about a guy that is a lot younger, Christian Medina, another rumor going around. This Boca Juniors player could be another signing for Inter Miami. This makes a little bit more sense, right?
Cristian Medina is the young kid from Boca. He's 21. He's an
Mhm.
attacking midfielder. Well, not attack. He's really good in the attack, but he's really good at building up the game. He has really good on football skills. He has really good dribbling skills. He's got speed. I would say he's like a Farias, but with a bit more finesse, kind of like more ability to open up the game, more vision. And I think he makes a lot more sense. Number one, because the price tag is probably not as high as Coutinho. I think he's we've according to reports, we've already made an offer for him. Again, those are just things that are not concrete, but it's been reported that we made an offer. It seems like $12 million for him, and then it was also reported that Botafogo was also trying to go after him, and apparently they had pulled out. So since then, I haven't really seen anything new about it, but it's a guy that if he comes in, I don't know if he might become a DP or what. But if you think about it as well, like we can make him a DP, possibly buy down Campana, and then you can still keep those 3 U22 slots that you would get with a under 22 DP. So like monetarily, construction for the roster, that all would make sense. And he is a really good player. Like I think he's one step away from going to Europe. So that's definitely a guy that I could see us going for, and I would love to see him on here, especially a guy coming from Boca and Argentina. It's a guy probably Messi would like as well.
And Tata Martino, right? He's been
Exactly.
bringing his guys anyway. So, okay, a couple of rumors, and we'll see what happens there with Inter Miami, which also announced some signings, homegrown talent being signed also here in Miami. Israel Boatwright, one of them, the other one, Tyler Hall, and those two, right? Who else? Yes, those
Both
two guys.
defense, right? But they both are defenders. I'm pretty sure.
I think Boatwright's a center back, right?
Almost sure that
Maybe.
he is, but let me confirm before I said
And I know
that.
Tyler Hall's like 17 years old, so
And apparently has had a lot of great things said about him.
yeah, he's super young. And I think he even made a first team appearance on the bench at one point last season, which I wouldn't put it past us, especially because of all the injuries we had. So I think I was reading that he made an appearance on the bench. But 17 years old with this team, I don't know if he makes the field without like any injuries happening, but it's really good experience. I mean, I think that that's the main reason why you bring up a guy to the first team that's 17 years old. Um, but again, to your point, they're all defenders, and that's something that we need. So actually, who knows? he might end up,
Yeah,
he
I mean,
might
I
end up
remember that Boatwright played a couple games when they were really depleted in the
yeah.
towards the beginning of the season before Messi and all that. He played in one or two games, and I think he did a decent job. Like I think he and Ian Frey. I don't know when he's going to come back from his unfortunate ACL injury, but he's great on defense. He played great for us when we needed him last season. Really young as well.
Yeah, he did great. He was playing right back for us, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
Yeah,
I
he
think
did
so, which
really
is
good.
again, the position we need more than anything, probably.
Yeah, so Boatwright is 18 and he made his professional debut in 2022. So he's had that experience. And like Ashley said, he played a couple of games in 2023. So that's going to be interesting. He's Dominican American. So we're going to try to find him for this spot in Spanish. Let's see if we can make that happen.
Oh,
That
that'd
would
be
be
nice.
interesting,
Yeah,
huh? Talking to him and
yeah.
listening to what he has to say about the team. All right. Before we close, there's a couple of things that I want to go over. Talked about rumors, possible players, signings, and we want to go over a little bit of what the shape could be for this team playing this season, or what would be your ideal shape. Let's not try to guess what Tata's going to do because we know it's impossible, but we can go over our options here and maybe throw a couple of systems that could work with what we have right now in our squad. So Ashley, we're gonna give you the go ahead, and you're gonna be the first one up and see. I mean, this 3-5-2 option is out there, and we were kind of discussing it before the episode, and I want to do it again here because that was an interesting talk. So, what do you have to say about this 3-5-2 system?
Yeah. So, I mean, because we really have so many unknowns for the back half of the pitch of our defense, it's really difficult to be able to say with certainty if I would prefer or what I think would be more beneficial at 3-5-2 or 4-3-3. With Messi, I happen to be in the camp that I think a 4-3-3 is just what he does the best with. And I mean, the best anything, like obviously he's the greatest player of all time, but with him on the right, with maybe Farias on the left, you see Suarez or Campana. I think that would probably make the most sense. However, maybe a 3-5-2 with emphasizing the wingers and having both Campana and Suarez. I think it could be very interesting. I think it could be a game by game basis, a tournament by tournament basis, kind of like we were saying earlier. That may be the time where he tries new things, when you're playing games that aren't, I don't want to say as important, but just a different tactic, a different game plan, having to make it through the season and trying to be strategic. So I personally like the 4-3-3 more, but who knows what our roster is going to lend itself to. There's still a lot of unknowns there.
Yeah, I think, and just I guess some background on why this conversation started. It was because that today mentioned that there could be a possibility and he believes that he has two strong center forwards in Campana and Suarez now, that he could potentially see them both seeing the field at the same time. So that would lend itself to being a front of two. So that's kind of where this conversation came from. And then there was some talk on Twitter or X, what it's called now, about there possibly being a 3-5-2 position. We've seen Tata in the past use those three center backs and have the two wing backs that go up and down. But what we were talking about is, like, for example, I don't know if that can actually happen given the personnel that Inter Miami have right now. And I'll give one example. If you have, say, 3 center backs, we're not sure exactly who those 3 center backs are going to be. We can kind of guess that Aviles is going to be one of them. If that was the case, like who else is going to be there? I don't know if Christoph or what, but Alba, if you followed his career, especially in Barca, you know that one of his strong suits is to go up the wing and associate himself at many times with Messi, right? We've seen that already. We've seen goals like that. And Messi's positionless. So, where he always, it's funny, he comes up on the screen where at the starting lineup since he's on the right, but after that, he's wherever the heck he wants to be. And so a lot of times, I think one of the main things that's going to want is that association with Messi, where again, Alba brings up the ball, touches with Messi. Alba continues on the run, touches back to Alba, then Alba touches the ball back to Messi in the center for the goal. Okay, if you do that 3-5-2, if Alba is one of those 3 center backs, he's not doing that play. Those 3 center backs, that's not going to happen. Which would mean that Alba would have to be part of that midfield. How are you going to put Alba in the midfield when you've got players like Farias, you've got Messi, you've got Diego Gomez, you've got
no defense.
Yeah, you've got Gregory who's still on there, you've got Robert Taylor. Like, I don't see Alba taking one of those guys' position in the midfield. I think that the only way that this works with Alba, and at least that scheme, is where it's going to be a back line of 4, and Alba is able to go up and down the line and be part of the defense, go up and down. That's my view of that. So that's why I don't think that we would have a 3-5-2 because of one of those things. And again, we have so much wealth of skill, a skill set of forwards in the midfield. Like, I don't know how. Of attack, I don't know how that would work. Is my thing. So I would think it's probably going to be a 4-3-3. And
well, there is always that other left back that we have that we love when he plays left back.
Noah Allen,
Taylor,
or Robert. Oh, me, Robert Taylor.
We on this podcast we love when Robert Taylor plays left back.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but I mean, it's true. You do have Noah Allen, where you may see situations where maybe it's going to be like a 5-3-2 or a 5-2-3. You may even see a little bit of where you have like we talked about a little bit. Maybe you have Alba on the left, and then you maybe have Noah Allen as that first left center back because he had to play center back a few times last year, and I think he did a pretty good job. Especially if you can have your other 2 tall center backs next to him. It could be interesting. I don't know. There's a lot of unknowns.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of unknowns. That's 100% sure, especially with the roster still under construction. So I think that as the weeks go along and we start to see some of these signings, we'll probably be able to paint a bigger picture of what we think. But yeah, I mean, we saw that 3-5-2, we saw the 5-3-2. If you guys saw last season, I'm not a fan of anything with 3-5 or 5-3 in it. But at points it did work out, so I'll go it out. Yeah, I'm more of a 4-3-3 or 4-4-2, 4, and then a diamond in the middle, 2 up front. Like, that's kind of my personal what I like to see. I'm more of a attacking. I like that football. I'm not like, that's why I don't watch the Italian league, I don't like Italy because of all that defense. But yeah, we'll see as that goes along.
Could be interesting.
Yeah, that could be very interesting. And I think that's what the personnel suits more right now. If you're having Suarez and Campana out front, to me, it's a 4-4-2, in my opinion. But we'll figure it out soon. And we've got a preseason game actually coming up in 8 days, actually, in El Salvador. Right?
Yes, they're playing the national team over there.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting.
Kind of weird.
Yeah, it's super weird. But you know what's funny? Like, okay, I'm sure you guys have seen this on social media where everybody was pissed at Inter Miami because of all the amount of preseason games. Maybe those are, I don't know if you guys are one part of that crowd. I don't think Ashley, because Ashley, you had mentioned that you understand like building a global brand and doing this. It's like it comes.
They want them to make money. They don't want to build a global brand.
They
want to make money for the brands, like Real Madrid. Real Madrid, they go to Asia every summer. You think the players always want
Yeah.
to? You don't think they're
Yeah.
tired? Like, you know,
Yeah.
it's you have to do it.
Yeah, but we're not naive either. So 100%, we know that there's, el bijujo. So,
They got to pay for Messi somehow.
yeah. But what's interesting is that people were worried about obviously all the strain that we're going to put. We're having a big preseason when you've got so many games ahead. What's funny that Tata Martino said, was it today? I think did he speak today? Maybe it was today.
Yeah.
Yeah. He actually said that he doesn't know if Messi's going to see the pitch in El Salvador, that it's going to depend how he's feeling. So that's what I said from the beginning.
That's not how you build the atmosphere for a game, huh?
Yeah, no, that's not how you build the atmosphere. But that's what I was saying from the beginning. I was like, I don't think what is it, like 6, 7 games or 8 or something like that we have in preseason. It's going to be different iterations of the team. Like, you're not going to have the same team play all 7, 8 games at all.
And
like,
also, let's be very, very clear. The priority is Saudi. Is Messi versus Ronaldo. It's the priority for every single. I don't care what you say, and unless something crazy happens, every single member of the Inter Miami club and the Riyadh club and the Apple TV and whoever has rights to this game, everyone's priority is that Messi and Ronaldo play. The rest of, obviously there's a couple Asia, there's 2 games. You can expect to see him a little bit in that. And it's just the hard truth of business and of global soccer. Messi, there's more value to Inter Miami for Messi to be playing in Asia and in why am I forgetting in the Middle East? I couldn't think of the name of the Middle East. It's more of a priority for him to be playing there than it is to be playing against El Salvador's national team. And I don't mean that in any mean way. I really don't. But first of all, Messi has played in South America for the 20 years, so they have gone to see him. I think Asia and Middle East, they seem to be more of a lucrative opportunity there. And look, maybe he will play next week. But I'm just saying it should not surprise anyone if that's how it shakes out.
Yeah, and that's what teams do. Teams switch up their lineups, and especially for these preseason games. Did you see the game that Barca played against America? The friendly?
Awesome. Yeah,
it was like eight players were like players from like not even Barca B. I think it was like under 12. Like
he played 36 hours after playing an actual game in their league, so that made no sense, but it's business and it is what it is. So we've seen this and we're going to continue to see this, and this is how it's going to go as long as Messi is here. Before we go, guys, we forgot a little detail about Messi's impact, but I want Ashley to go over this docuseries that is coming to Apple TV Plus in 2024. So let's go over this before we wrap up this episode.
Yeah, well, so I mean, obviously, we started the episode by saying the impact on the pitch and how he's bringing all of these huge crowds throughout the country. Well, this is off the pitch where it's going to be for the world to watch, and that is part of why he came here for Apple TV. That's why Apple TV paid for a 10-year contract with MLS. They knew what was happening, and the producers from Formula One Drive to Survive, which is obviously a hugely popular. I know, Gian, you really like F1, right? It's very popular around the world, and similarly, obviously, so is soccer. They are trying to maximize the impact. I know we didn't talk too much about Messi, the journey to America that he did with Apple TV, but it was, I think, a really good, indicator and starting point to say, rightfully so, they are trying to get as much out of it as they can. And I don't know if you guys remember, especially in the beginning, the first couple games with Messi, we were so pleased with all of the incredible content and HD angles and videos we got of him playing, and his celebrations, him talking to opponents. It was just so clear and so accessible to everybody. And that is part of what they're trying to revolutionize. And so this is just another step in it. And I'm excited to see, because this is high value production. It should be really good.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that. As somebody that watched Drive to Survive, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's funny because it's like a soap opera. Like they literally make things that are like normal things into the most dramatic stuff. So I'm excited for them to see whatever episode they do on Inter versus Orlando City, because
Yeah.
man, the drama
There's
that's
gonna
gonna
be a
look
whole
like
episode
a
on some kid from St.
yeah,
Louis who's a homegrown talking shit to Messi. That's what we're getting.
it's gonna
A
look
whole
like a
episode
Telemundo
on.
soap opera is what it's gonna look like. That'll be fun.
I remember that when Drive to Survive came up, I think it was in the middle of the pandemic, if I'm not mistaken, Jen, or I
Yeah,
watched it in the middle of the pandemic, and
Yeah.
I
when
remember
it was popular.
I've been a Formula One fan since decades ago, but I lost
Yeah.
a lot of interest. And once I watched this, I'm like, okay, I'm hooked up again, and now I'm like, I enjoy
Yeah.
a little more, even though this past season was not fun at all.
Agreed.
I'm sure they're gonna make it. I'm sure in Drive to Survive they're gonna make it fun somehow. So we'll
Yeah,
see
yeah.
what they do, and we'll see what they do with MLS as well with this new production coming up. So
Have
Ashley
you guys seen
Gian, thank you.
The Netflix one with World Cup?
I had the
Quickly, did you
captain's one.
see the captain's one with the World Cup
Yes,
that just came out a couple weeks
I
ago? Oh
want
my
to.
god,
Yeah.
yeah,
phenomenal, phenomenal.
yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
Recommended to all of you that love soccer shows and documentaries with the World Cup. Tyler Adams is there, and his part is very interesting what he went through, and also of course Messi going over what happened to Argentina in the World Cup and how they won that last game and everything that went up during the tournament. It's really interesting, really fun to watch, and it's like 6 episodes, right? I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
So it's you can like go through it pretty quick, and you're gonna enjoy it. You know what happened in the World Cup, but still, you're gonna watch it and you're gonna see new things coming up, and it's gonna be really interesting. So, Ashley Jan, thank you very much for joining me again, or actually for welcoming me back to Messi and Co. because I've been missing for different reasons, and now I'm back here with you guys. So it's really interesting. We're getting ready for this season. We're gonna be going and bringing you guys a lot of content, and you guys are gonna enjoy it, hopefully. And this is gonna be a fun season, guys. Having Messi from the beginning and not just coming in the middle. We're gonna have to enjoy this from game one, and we're gonna be here starting with these friendly games. Even if Messi doesn't play, we'll be here. So don't worry.
And
Thank
actually,
you,
we'll be
Ashley.
doing a live post game of the El Salvador game.
yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm excited though. Look, who knows? Every week we're learning more and more news is coming out, more roster decisions. It's getting more and more fun. We all got our good break in, and we're excited to pick it right back up.
Yep.
Right. All right, guys. Thank you very much, and we'll see you back sometime soon. I'm pretty sure. Bye bye. Enjoy.
Bye.